We have travelled 6 hours north of Hanoi through countless rice fields and impenetrable fog to the town of Sapa, where we will be staying at a homestay in a traditional Vietnamese stilt house, meeting the locals and exploring the region. This is so cool.
It's cold. So we are staying in a traditional Vietnamese wooden stilt house. And as you can see, looks like it's vastly made out of wood. It has this massive communal space up on the second floor, which is where the majority of bedrooms are, with some pretty amazing views, which you can't really admire at the moment because of the fog, and some cool little spots to sit and take in the view or just relax. There's also a kettle, which is very much appreciated while the weather is so cold, and a dog for everyone to pat. And this is our private bedroom for our time in Sapa. It's fitting that the sign on the door says Tay. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it, but Tay, Taylor Swift, massive fan. I thought it was fitting. We have a queen size bed, enough storage space for our luggage. Granted, we don't have a huge amount of luggage because we're carry-on only, but plenty of room for our luggage. We do have a window, but it doesn't look out onto a huge amount. A massive rock, and because the weather's so drizzly at the moment anyway, we're kind of keeping the curtains closed to try and keep the heat in. Speaking of the weather and the fact that it's so cold, let me show you my favorite thing about this room. It's this little guy right here, our electric blanket. I think it was like close to 0 degrees overnight, but that bad boy kept us warm, so we're very happy to have that. My other favorite thing about this room is that when we arrived, we were greeted with a personalized written card from the owner, and that is just a touch that they don't need to do, but they did anyway, and it made us feel so welcome. Now, as I said, it's so cold because we're up in the mountains, and you can tell that we are because these chips are about to burst because of the altitude, so there is proof that we are not big babies. It is actually cold. Now, the room also has a fan, so if it's actually hot, you're all set in that respect too. Now, we do have a private room, but the bathrooms are shared. Well, let me show you around them. And this is the bathroom area. We have 2 separate bathrooms, each with a toilet and a shower, and my favorite thing, these heated lights. Now it is extremely foggy outside, as you can kind of see behind me. If you look closely, you might be able to make out some rice fields in the distance. This morning though, it was even worse. You could only really see about like 10 meters in front of you and then just completely blanketed in fog. I'm hoping that tomorrow will be better weather. It's only like 7 degrees at the moment, so it is freezing. Thankfully, we still have our thermal and winter clothes from New York around Christmas time, and if you haven't seen those videos, we'll link them up here. So we're not too cold, but as I said, I hope the weather improves tomorrow because I think this place will offer some pretty incredible views of the rice fields in the distance, and just like the number of windows this place has, and almost like 360 balcony around the stilted house. Fingers crossed the fog lifts. So while the weather is not in our favour, it's too foggy to kind of go out on the trek or anything like that, we're going to head into Sapa town and see what that's like in comparison to the only other Vietnamese city or town we've been to, which is Hanoi, and I have a feeling it's going to be completely different. Now, to get up to this place, it's a very steep climb, but thankfully there are stairs on the side, so it's not too bad. And there is just fog everywhere. We have made it into the town of Sapa. It was actually like a 20-25 minute drive from our homestay to the city centre. So we're definitely not in the Sapa town or near it, but I think that adds to the whole homestay experience. It only cost us 250,000 dong to get here, and our homestay organised taxis, so that was all really easy. As you can see, the fog is no much better than it was back at home. But we're going to have a bit of an explore, see what the town is like. Now, you might think that 250,000 dong is kind of expensive to get into town, but as I said, it was almost half an hour in the car, and it's money that we're okay to spend because our accommodation's only costing us less than 20 Australian dollars a night, so very, very cheap.
It's really cool here. Similar to in Hanoi, I definitely feel there are some French touches. I mean, maybe that's just me, but buildings just feel very like European with like the colourful shutters, and it's very cool architecture, very different, and the fog is just crazy here. Like even in town, the fog is so heavy.
Alright, it's currently drizzling outside. I'm on my phone because our camera is not waterproof, but look at this train station behind me. It is one of the coolest buildings I've ever seen.
It stands out because it's yellow, but it's just massive. It kind of looks like something out of, I don't know, like Willy Wonka. I think it reminds me of that chocolate emporium at Universal Studios.
It does, yeah.
And then we have some sort of like, I don't know, performance area here where you've got all these seats here. I'm not sure what that's used for. And then still some decorations left over from the Lunar New Year celebrations. Warm. It is currently 1 o'clock in the afternoon and look at the sky. Where is the sky? Where is it? Where does the sky begin and end? We're in a cloud. Now we've come to the lake in the Sapa city centre, but I don't see it. It kind of just looks like I'm really high up and I'm looking out into a cloud, but I know that I'm not because, oh my gosh. I think it got too cold for that fish. Oh. Tell the subscribers you ruined the Guys, maybe it's just me, but I would have thought as the day goes on the fog lifts. That's not what's happening here at all. It's even worse now. That area that I showed you before, looking down onto the, like, I don't know, I'm going to call it an arena or performance area. You can't even really see the bottom of it anymore. It's all covered by fog. And I want to show you something. The Christmas tree is still up. And I am all for it. What do you think, Stace? Christmas 12 months a year?
I mean, it's the same weather we had for Christmas. So
That's very true.
Now, if you're thinking of coming to Sapa and are wondering where you should stay, I think it totally depends on what you want your experience to be like. I think it would be really cool to stay in the Sapa town and obviously be so close to everything, all the restaurants, all the colour, the market, the train station. But if you want that kind of, I guess, authentic Vietnamese homestay experience, you'd obviously try a homestay, and that would offer you, I guess, closer proximity to all the places you can go trekking as well. So totally up to what you want your time in Sapa to be like. I think we're pretty happy with the homestay so far. It's pretty quiet, the people are lovely, there's a little restaurant there too, we'll take you there for dinner tonight. And as I said, only about 20-25 minute taxi ride in, not too expensive. There's a dog, what more can I say? And if you'd like to check out our homestay on booking.com, we'll put the link in the description below. That's the one that we stayed at. Alright, we are back at our homestay now. We're sitting in the restaurant. We're just in time for dinner and we're going to sit and play some Monopoly Deal as we wait for our food. It's a risky game because Stacey is super competitive and a really sore loser. Who wants this?
she cheats. It's the only explanation.
So we've ordered some vegetarian fried noodles and some french fries. We've just gone for a bit of a mix. French fries will really make us feel warm and at home, and the noodles are just really, really tasty.
Good morning and welcome to our final day here in Sapa. Seems we've picked the perfect day to go on a trek because the fog is finally lifting. Okay, we're going on a 3-hour trek. There's a group of 6 of us from our accommodation. We've got a local guide, we'll be visiting some of the villages and just going for a general walk around Sapa, which should be pretty nice. It's still a bit foggy, but it's mostly lifted compared to our last few days. So it'll be really good to get out and about. And we've already been warned, it's quite muddy in some parts.
You see down there, more slippery, smooth road, you go slowly, okay?
So we've all borrowed gumboots from the accommodation, so we're really like working our best outfits of the trip so far.
The gumboots are certainly coming in handy. So we're approaching our first village at the moment. We've been walking for maybe about half an hour, all up. Just saw the biggest chicken I've ever seen in my life. So our guide was telling us that this is Zhao village, and I believe you can tell the villages apart, or the village people apart, in that the colour of the clothes that they wear and the hats are different, as well as the languages that they speak are different as well. So this is our first little village that we're checking out on our trekking tour. So about 100 people live here in Zhao village, and Bao is showing us the local, I guess, primary school or kindergarten building, but once you reach the age of high school, you got to go into Sapa town and get your education there. And just look at that view behind me. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera, particularly because it's quite overcast still. The fog has lifted, it's just not completely gone. But it's just like rice fields, rice fields, rice fields separated by a river, and there was a dam that we walked past as well, and then rice fields, rice fields. It's amazing. I mean, look at that. We don't see the clouds in the sky because the clouds are meeting the rice fields. And that down there is our village. So far, I would say that this trek has been like moderately hard, mostly because it's really slippery at times. And the incline's pretty high too. And I know we always complain about this, but when we're in places with high altitude, we struggle, and we like to think it's because of the altitude and not because we're super unfit. Isn't that right, Stacey?
Speak for yourself, I'm fine.
Look at the view. Pretty cool, right? Yep. Guys, Stacey just said, oh my god, the mountains. And I was like, yeah, like over there. And I know. They have been completely hidden to us this entire time we've been in Sapa. I didn't even know that they were there. But they're there. The bow was telling us that the rice fields down here belong to the village, and the village eats the rice from those fields, and they don't even have to use machines anymore. They just use the buffalo. The buffalo is strong enough to do whatever that needs to be done, and that's where they get their rice from. And then on the other side of the ridge, I think, is where they grow corn, if I'm not mistaken, but the corn is for the chickens and the pigs. I'm not sure why we don't eat a lot of that corn. They seem to think that they do. Maybe when the corn is like really fresh. I'm unsure, but it was pretty interesting to learn about. What happened?
I sunk.
That was really hard. We both fell in a number of times, and then it just got to the point where one of our guides was like, and held my hand the whole time. A little bit of mud, and this is what we get. I'd say that's a pretty fair deal.
We are well and truly up in the clouds now. You can literally like see it moving past us. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera, but we can like watch it move.
It's like a time lapse, but real time.
Yeah, so like Rosh just said, it's like a time lapse but real time. We are so high up in the rice fields. We are literally skirting the outskirts of each of like the little rice fields. I'm not sure like what each individual one's called, but we're walking along the narrow edges, making our way slowly up higher and higher. Watch down.
I just fell for about a continuous 2 minutes of non-stop falling, and I'm ashamed to say I was prepared to bring the guide down with me. I honestly don't know if I did or not.
On the spot.
Yeah. Just for the record, I do know that I did not have an accident.
It's a bit chilly now.
It is a little bit chilly up here, but we are in the clouds. I really hope it's showing up on camera. Like, you can see the clouds moving really fast. And you can see that it's kind of clearing up behind me with the wind, like the clouds are just rolling through. Like this.
Place has found the perfect position, or perfect spot to keep our little gifts.
There are so many points on this trek that you just want to stop and look at the views because you're kind of spoilt for choice. There are views everywhere, and it's just something really cool about being above the clouds and looking down onto clouds.
We're heading in now where it's a little bit more dense, so kind of out of the rice fields area. A bit more jungle vibes.
Well, we've now made it to a waterfall, and Vass said that because there hasn't been a lot of rain, although there has been a little bit of rain while we've been here. Pretty much no rain today. It's not very full. Apparently usually it's like really full. It's really, there's a lot of water flying or falling down the waterfall. And guys, the sky is truly clearing up now. We can very clearly see the mountains in the distance. It's wild that we've been here for as long as we have, and we're only now just seeing the mountains that have surrounded us this entire time. So they use this particular plant to dye their clothes blue. And apparently my hand's gonna go blue after 5 minutes.
Okay, my turn. Little water.
Oh, seeing a lot of green. Alright, check back in 5 minutes. Guys, I have some very exciting news. I've just been cast as Elphaba on Broadway for the Wicked show, you know what I mean? For Wicked. Something has changed within me. I am She-Hulk. So it turns out it turns your hands green. Really? It might turn blue. Did you see blue?
It's been paint.
I have no regrets. Alright, it's now time for us to head down to the bamboo forest, and we got to go down this massive hill. Am I gonna make it? Alright, we're now walking down the bamboo forest, and it's just as slippery as the rice fields, but the good news is we have the bamboo poles that help us along the way, and of course they're really amazing guides.
This is so cool, guys.
And just like that, we're back at our homestay.
Our trek was so worth it. Now, if you don't like trekking, like us, we hate trekking and we hate hiking, there are so many different options. Like we did a 3-hour one, which was perfect, but you can do like 5 hours or 8 hours, or there are like trekking packages that you go overnight. So like so many different options, but you definitely have to do one. If you come to Sapa, it's what they're known for, getting out into the rice fields. Truly a really kind of authentic experience, especially staying at a homestay as well and outside of the town. We weren't fully sold when we visited the town on Sapa, but being at our homestay and going on that trek, we'd just fallen in love with it. Seal the deal.
I would definitely say there is no point in coming to Sapa unless you're planning on doing one of those treks, because you're missing out on so much if you don't do a trek like that. Now, while we can't link our exact trek that we did because we booked through our homestay, we'll link our homestay in the description below, as well as a few different types of trekking packages that we found too. But for now, we are back in our homestay's restaurant with some stir-fried noodles and some french fries because they were so good. The best part about this restaurant and this homestay, apart from the people, of course, shout out to Huang, who's the owner, and she's just such a great, friendly lady, is that the menu is completely handwritten and it's so detailed and the pictures are so cute. I just love simple touches like that. The menu, the handwritten note that you receive when you arrive, the decorations on the wall, it's just a great place. And look at the sky now. Very quickly it can change here, I suppose, because we're up in the mountains. Completely in the clouds again. Can no longer see the rice fields or the mountains in the distance, so we are so glad we went on that trek when we did, because the day earlier wouldn't have worked, and even earlier in today wouldn't have worked. Well guys, that is it for us in Sapa and our Sapa homestay. We are currently eating a banh mi that was very kindly given to us from our homestay host at 6:30 this morning. It's about 7 o'clock now. We're about to get the Sapa Express back to Hanoi. But I just want to say, it's like a totally different town right now. Not a cloud in the sky. It was wild. The drive over, you know, as usual, we're driving through the clouds, we can barely see anything. We go around a corner and then it's just suddenly clear and the clouds are underneath. I've never seen anything like it. And now, not a cloud in the sky. We're looking at Sapa town and the mountains that we didn't even realize were above it. It's amazing. I really enjoyed our time. It was not what we expected at all, but we had a great time. We hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.